is if indeed this thing was done with the holiness that is in the sanctum sanctorum of Rome, then he need not talk about it, because it would be clearly shown to be a facade.
All right.
But
let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Is engineering
your Latin speech there. But if it becomes true, or we find out that it's true that there is an error of 14 billion, does that then mean everything about this should be questioned?
Yes, exactly. In fact, the thing is, we as Kenyans need to understand that if this was South Korea or the United States of America, just the fact that the deal is skewed against the people of the Republic of Kenya, in that we've said that the company is Italian, the equipment as much as possible should come from Italy.
Yes.
You understand? Just that alone is enough for the people of the Republic of Kenya to say, no, why do we have a problem with the Chinese?
Right.
We've sat in this very show and we've said that we cannot say that the railway station is written in Chinese, the tunnel that they need in Chinese. We cannot have that. This is a Kenyan country. That is reason enough to cancel a contract.
Okay.
So it goes beyond corruption.
All right.
It goes to the image and the psyche of a nation.
So Hesbon, where do we go from this? This Italian firm's answering, the Deputy President proving what he's saying, the DCI coming in to shed more light on this, the CSS being quizzed. Where do we go from?
I think, you know, it's a bit clear that what we need to do, all the leaders who have something to say about this have given us their stand, and we know. What we need to see is the DCI now move on with speed. There are a lot of cabinet secretaries who have been mentioned here. President Uhuru Kenyatta has confidence in them. There was a community reshuffle the other day. They are still in office for the simple reason that we are not going to assassinate characters based on things that we don't understand. We are paying the DCI to help us understand. All these things that Dismas is talking about, they were done. I mean, we cannot assume here that we'll be talking about feasibility. This is money stolen. It is at the budget level. That is what we need to focus on. But the biggest problem is that we've had the maize scandal. The DP's name was mentioned. We don't know what is going on there. We've lost a lot of money, and it's painful. We cannot sit here and say that the people in these regions don't need water. These dams are going to contribute to our national grid. We need electricity to power the other things in the big four. So we cannot sit down and expect politicians to drive this narrative, yet the office of the DCI and the Director of Public Prosecution are paid. People can bandy lies. We trust them to tell us the truth.
So DCI, DPP's office take over?
Yes.
All right. Kipchumba, where do we go from here? How do you remove the politics from this?
Ben, we need to go back to the fundamental question of, are we fighting corruption, or we are entrenching and drilling a narrative towards a certain goal? The germane issue should be this. If it is about fighting corruption, the DCI should stick to whatever. He has been doing a great job by the mere fact that he has been able to just get some things on the national discussion table. It shows that he's doing the right thing. But what we must do going forward, the DCI should avoid looking like a saloon somewhere in Muthirwa. For this reason, the DPP has been writing official documents to the public. When he communicates, he writes something that we are charging Ben Kitili on this, and it is in the public circulation. But for the DCI, I have an issue that we communicate. We just see, as newspaper has written something, we don't know if it is rumors or it is the true position. That has to be sorted out so that he can carry everybody in the war against corruption. Everybody must support the war against corruption. We have problems as a nation because of corruption, but it must be done in a manner that wins support. We cannot do the war on corruption the same way the KANU youth wingers used to recruit members to join KANU in the late 90s. The other thing that must be said is, when we pay every project, there must be a mobilization percentage.
Right.
When you pay the mobilization percentage, it doesn't mean that the money has been lost. And again, for the benefit of the public, this is a project that began, the Kimwarer, Aror dams. The feasibility and all these things, have been there since, I think, 1989 or 88. all through until the President Kibaki adopted them. The documentation is there. But what we must ask ourselves, and we must learn from this, is that what is the purpose of these people who go in delegations to negotiate on our behalf?
Okay.
Because it will seem we were conned here because we paid people per diem, they went there and signed everything the Italians asked for. The other thing that, in conclusion, that I must ask, as we talk about the Italian company, there is a law that talks about the 30% local content. Where is it? Because so far we are addressing the Italians.
All right.
Where is the 30% local content?
All right.
On the PR of the DCI, I want to remind Kenyans that the other day we saw Roger Stone being arrested in the United States of America, and the FBI went in there in full SWAT fatigue to arrest a 66-year-old man. The other day we also saw in Botswana one of the heads of the intelligence landing at the airport, and cameras were there for him to be arrested. Let us be very clear that one of the tools that we have to fight against corruption is the media. It's not something we can run away from, and we must use the media to further educate the people and to make them wary and afraid of participating in corruption. That is how it works. So it's only in Kenya where we want for people to be, for things to be taken out of the media glare.
Ben, let me just say something that we must get it clear. Our media has a blame to carry, and I will not hide behind English like the church. I'll just tell them in plain sight. Look at it this way. We have a media that is used
Tell
to
us what we are...
What you are not doing. Yes. One, we have not seen you serialize for us the concession agreement that this is what was agreed upon. Two, we have not seen you break down for the country that these are the big cues. Three, you have not come out to tell us this is the feasibility study or not. And the fourth point is...
So who said that's important? That's you.
For Kenyans to judge for themselves, the purpose of a media house is not to tell us that this coalition, this tribe, and this one are merging. No, it is to tell people... If it was not for the Kenyan media, we didn't be knowing all this.
Ben, give me a minute.
What Mark is saying...
Give me a minute, yes.
20 seconds.
20 seconds are sufficient. I only know brief for the media. However, the media cannot serialize a feasibility study that doesn't exist. It cannot serialize a design which doesn't exist, or a technical study which doesn't exist, or present a BQ which doesn't exist.
Ben, I don't think in this country we are that naive to have a project get funding if all these things are not there. So we cannot discuss that.
And
I think that's the fraud which is being investigated. That is the fraud being investigated.
We cannot reduce ourselves to a point where we believe things that cannot be imagined.
All right.
Number two, we cannot blame the media, but the manner in which the DCI's office brings things to the media ends up glorifying corruption. And I think that is not the problem of the media. That is the problem of the DCI and the Director of Public Prosecution. That when they bring people and they accuse these people of things that they don't have evidence for, the ultimate effect in the mass public is that they will see these people as celebrities and they will start thinking that corruption is good.
We don't manufacture the news, just report it.
No, but get us the documents.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We're, of course, all eyes on the DCI's office and the DPP's office to just see where this story will be going next. Let's switch gears now and talk about that cabinet reshuffle and whether or not it addressed what Kenyans think has been happening. Let's listen to, let's take a look at that story by Otieno about the reshuffle. Of course, Rashid Ejeta losing his seat or being sacked as a sports cabinet secretary. Here's Timothy Otieno.
The Friday morning executive order reassigned Ambassador Amina Mohamed from the Ministry of Education to now head the sports docket. Her replacement for the Education Cabinet Secretary position, former University of Nairobi Vice Chancellor and the Kenya National Examination Council head, Professor George Magoha. The president's directive, in essence, firing Rashid Echesa and Telecommunications Principal Secretary Fatuma Hirsi in a minor cabinet shakeup just days after the head of state promised swift repercussion against those propagating incompetency in his government.
We will also be very, very, very firm and very hostile to those who will use their position and abuse it. Au ni namna gani?
And as the president not only talked tough, but acted tough, mixed reactions greeted his directive.
Amechukua hatua mwafaka kabisa, sababu ameonyeshana anapigana na corruption.
Kitu ya kwanza angefanya, angefuta wakina Rotich, arifuta hii grupu zingine zinaiba pesa, instead ya kutupatia PR. Hii tumezoea.
Tunataka watu ambao watachukua usukani wakuwe watu ambao wanaweza leta maendeleo kwa haraka iwezekanavyo.
The shake-up has also seen a realignment of principal secretaries: Susan Mochache to the Health Ministry, Ali Nur Ismail to the State Department of Cooperatives, Ibrahim Mohammed to the Environment and Forestry Department, Peter Tum to the Department of Labor, Margaret Mwakima to the Ministry of East African Community Affairs, and Susan Koech to the Department of Wildlife. Ambassador Amina Mohammed will now be heading her third docket since President Uhuru Kenyatta assumed power in 2013, even as the cabinet secretary last year faced criticism after issuing conflicting statements in regards to the implementation of the new education curriculum. Cabinet Secretary nominee Professor George Magoha, a man credited for radical reforms in the management of national exams, will now await a parliamentary committee vetting, whose recommendations is likely to approve his appointment for the apex job at the Education Ministry. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
So Rashid Echesa being fired as from Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet. He has said he has no idea why he was let go, but he has been in the middle of a lot of things. Let's listen to what he has said in the past.
Kama Raila sasa amekuwa ndio appointing authority in this country, I want to dare you, Tinga, wherever you are, come and sack me. Kuja unifute.
All right. Did he get what he was asking for dismiss? What do you think of this Echesa being sacked?
You know, the main ways to look at Mohamed Echesa, that he actually got into the cabinet means that our National Assembly and the vetting process is skewed. It's upside down. Now, you've got members of the National Assembly giving President Kenyatta a pat on the back for firing Echesa. And there were the same members of the National Assembly who were in that committee and in plenary who said this is a fantastic choice for the Ministry of Sports, that he used to be a boxer, I think, with the prisons department, so he understands sports very well. A few minutes later, when he gets fired, then the same members of the National Assembly say that is a wise decision. It seems to me that majority of the members of the National Assembly have no idea what they are doing at the National Assembly. Even that committee responsible for implementation should be going around establishing whether the dams we are talking about actually are in existence. So most of those committees, in my view, are unfunctional. But the disturbing thing for the Honorable Echesa is that he doesn't understand, or he doesn't know why he was fired, and he doesn't know the difference between being fired or requested to vacate or to step aside. He's in a state of confusion. He has conveniently forgotten that he got some Pakistani bell dancers to Kenya. A cabinet secretary serving in President Kenyatta's administration who is accused of encouraging human trafficking. So he's quickly forgotten that, and many other scandals. In my view, this thing was long overdue.
All right. And
the president has got another chance to fire many more cabinet secretaries who are not performing. As we sit right now, the economy is headed south.
All right.
People are bleeding. So at this stage, you begin to ask yourself, what is Rotich doing at the National Treasury? He's gone to pains to give a long, complicated statement here that nobody would understand about these dams. But he's the one who's been misrunning the economy, and is still in office. And
there's a school of thought that has been saying that should be the president's priority.
Well, you see,
for the president to fire.
For the president to fire anybody is supposed to be last resort. In my view today, because of this overwhelming pressure, all cabinet secretaries ought to resign. They should present their resignation letters, including the deputy president, to Kinyua. And then the president will go through all the resignation letters, and he would say, which one will I accept, which one will I reject? Granted, we've got a number of cabinet secretaries who are doing a good job. Dr. Fred Matiang'i is one of them. Joe Musheru is another one. There's also Munya, who are doing a very good job. But you know, the few apples within the cabinet are really disappointing us. Right now, the economy is sick. And you remember in this panel, and there's some panelists here who took a divergent view. We said the economy was bleeding, and I know they're looking at me now in a suggestive manner, but you know they came with bows and arrows and all manner of armaments. And it's only a few days ago that Rotich says, wait a minute, the economy is actually bleeding. And that's the stage when people remember, wait a minute, Musalia Mudavadi has been talking about this. Now, we cannot afford, Ben, to entrust our leadership with this kind of responsibility, that they cannot tell the difference between left, right, and center. Rotich is at the National Treasury. Instead of doing the right thing, is engaged in a manner that Kinoti has developed interest in Rotich. Now tell me, we are undergoing through the budget preparation program. Do you think Rotich has got the presence of mind to write a statement with Kinoti and advise us on the way forward to turn around our economy?
Mark Bichachi, there's this narrative, again, same question, that Benjamin Washali, the majority whip in the National Assembly, says this is targeted at Ruto's 2022 plans, getting rid of Echesa.
Now, let us think about it critically. If your plan for 2022 is Rashid Echesa, there is something fundamentally wrong with your plan. If you are assembling a football team and the players you pick are the ones who got the last score, the lowest score in their local leagues, then clearly your team is for failure. Rashid Echesa is not the kind of person you would consider for any bid, not even the bid to be cattle dip chairman. Let's just be very clear. This is a guy who's been implicated in a very short time. Let us look at his career. He is in a stone-throwing fight with politicians soon after his appointment, okay? Then there are belly dancers caught somewhere in Westlands, and his name is brought up. Then there is gold and all manner of fake currency found, and his name is brought up. Then there is an Indian businessman who is conned off of money, and lo and behold, Rashid Echesa's name comes up. Now, surely, what kind of team? Now, listen. Show me your friends, and I will show you your character. For the whip to say that this is the friend for the deputy president, then he's besmirching the reputation of the deputy president. It cannot be.
But that's
you
just
say
your opinion.
No, it is my opinion, yes, which is why I'm seated on this chair. But I'm basing it on fact. Okay. I'm basing it on fact. And the fact I'm basing it on is if you go back to the same newspaper, this one, which is published by the parent company of this company where I'm seated. There is no article of Rashid Echesa that does not include stoning people, belly dancers. Those are things that are in the public domain. That is what he's known for. I can only analyze the information I have.
Enough analysis of Echesa. Mark, husband, Amina Mohammed, I mean, she has been moved around so much. Is that a good thing or bad thing?
Well, I think, to me, among all the cabinet secretaries, the fact that she's the one who has been moved from, a docket that is probably a lot more pedigree compared to the sports docket tells a lot, So that would tell you that probably it's not a compliment that she's been tasked with the
maybe the position. Sports docket is so downtrodden that it needs the best.
Yes. So it is not. That's what I'm saying. It is not, because you see what has happened to her. She has fallen down the pecking order from foreign affairs to education ministry, where she has had issues. Some people are saying that she didn't manage to get any help defaulter before she went. Now, I don't know whether she'll get sport pesa guys, goal, and stuff like that. But I think for me, the fundamental thing is, among all the cabinet secretaries, she can take pride in the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta believes in her and can give her any other responsibility and expect results. In a football or a basketball or a volleyball team, she's like the utility player, the one who will deliver. There is a lot in Amina Mohammed, and I think what we are seeing right now is a very industrious and intelligent lady who has been taken to a ministry that probably she'll again take like 2 years before she understands how to go about it, and probably she'll be moved again. I think for me, the best thing that the president would have done is, just take her to the back seat and find something else for her.
Is this the kind of reshuffle you're expecting, Kim Chumba?
I will say I was not expecting any reshuffle because I do not advise the president, neither do I have a daily talk with him. So that one is something I'll be speculating, just like all the 45 million Kenyans. But the thing is this, Ben. One, it is the prerogative of the president, and we must give him the latitude. I have overstated in this show that as a president, he must be allowed to govern the country. We elected him, that is his role. But again, why Echeza was fired, we need to understand that we do not know the key performance indicators of Mr. Kenyatta that he has against his cabinet secretaries. Maybe Mr. Echeza did not meet the KPIs as set by Uhuru Kenyatta. The other thing is this. We have been told that the fight against corruption is a all-out fight. Mm-hmm. And when this reshuffle happened, we were amid a raging scandal of dams and all manner of things. And what makes me thinking is that why Uhuru Kenyatta did not fire anybody. It says a lot. And also it reaffirms the thinking that he has a lot of confidence in his cabinet. And the other thing also, as a voter and as a Kenyan taxpayer, I might ask the president is that over time now we have had a lot of issues happening. It is time he reviews most of the people in the cabinet, because we cannot have a cabinet and we're having all manner of problems happening in this country. Right. That is how we can help us. And then again, for him to put some oomph into the fight against corruption, some few heads must roll. Because now, for the issues of cabinet secretaries, it does not need any court of law or any other instruments to fire them.
There is appointees.
Yes.
All right. We'll see what happens there in the fight against corruption. A lot of Kenyans on social media getting on the president's back, telling him he needs to fire some people. They need to see some heads rolling. We shall wait to see what happens. Thank you for staying with us here on Sunday edition on KTN News. Let's take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we shall be shifting gears and focusing on devolution. The 6th Devolution Conference kicks off tomorrow from the county of Kirinyaga all the way till Friday. When we come back, we shall take stock of devolution 6 years on. Political affairs reporter Muremi Mwangi is part of our team on the ground. They shall be giving us what to expect from tomorrow. Stay with us.
The country must move away from the vacuous talk on the handshake and on to action. Having had more than enough on the handshake, we demand that we must now begin seeing handcuffs. We must move from the handshake to handcuffs. This is the message. We must move from handshakes to handcuffs.